July 30th, 1980. Across the sweeping expanse of the South Pacific, the dawn of a new era broke over a beautiful, resilient chain of islands. On this historic morning, the territory long known to the Western world as the New Hebrides permanently severed its colonial shackles. In a series of deeply moving public ceremonies, the islands transitioned from a bizarre, highly awkward administrative arrangement known as the Anglo-French Condominium into the fully independent and sovereign Republic of Vanuatu. For the indigenous people, this day was the culmination of generations of stolen dignity and hard-fought struggle. As the colonial flag slowly descended into history, the air in Port Vila was thick with an overwhelming sense of liberation and pride. This momentous day marked the absolute end of a highly unusual dual colonial rule, signaling the proud rise of a brand new nation, ready to fiercely assert its own unique voice, identity, and destiny on the global stage. It was a triumphant declaration to the world that the era of imperial dominance in the Pacific was rapidly drawing to a close. The absolute triumph of Vanuatu's independence, we must first analyze the sheer historical oddity and systemic oppression of the colonial framework that preceded it, the Anglo-French Condominium. Established in 1906, this arrangement was born not out of concern for the islands, but because Great Britain and France could not agree on who should claim sole ownership of the archipelago. Their solution was an unprecedented administrative experiment, sharing absolute sovereignty over the exact same territory. The local population frequently and mockingly referred to it as the Pandemonium, and for good reason. The system was a logistical nightmare of duplicate colonial structures. There were two parallel legal systems, two separate police forces speaking different languages, two separate currencies, and two completely separate school systems, one British, one French. Crucially, the only people left entirely out of this power equation were the indigenous Melanesian population, known as the I-Vanuatu. They were legally designated as stateless subjects in their own ancestral home, passport. The colonial powers systematically exploited the islands for large-scale copra and plantation economies, while pushing the native culture into the margins. This bizarre and deeply frustrating dual rule created a boiling pressure cooker of discontent, planting the seeds for a generation of activists who would fight tirelessly to dismantle this colonial absurdity and reclaim their sacred stolen sovereignty. The path to absolute sovereignty was anything but easy. It was a hard-won victory forged through intense political mobilization and immense cultural resilience. By the early 1970s, a powerful indigenous political awakening began to sweep across the islands, led by an Anglican priest named Father Walter Lini. Lini and his colleagues formed the Vana'aku Pati, the party of the land, articulating a powerful ideology that blended traditional Melanesian communal values, known as kastom, with modern principles of national self-determination. The challenges of forging a single nation-state were monumental. The colonial powers had spent decades dividing the population along linguistic lines, pitting Anglophone and Francophone communities against one another. As the momentum toward independence grew unstoppable in late 1979, the transition was threatened by a severe, violent crisis. On the northern island of Espiritu Santo, a secessionist rebellion backed by wealthy right-wing American libertarians and French plantation owners attempted to break away from the new nation. They declared their own short-lived republic to protect foreign landholdings. This tense standoff, known as the Coconut War, tested the absolute resolve of the emerging government. Refusing to let their nation be fractured on the eve of its birth, Walter Lini's administration successfully quelled the rebellion with the military assistance of neighboring Papua New Guinea, demonstrating to the world the fierce, unyielding determination of the I-Vanuatu people to control their own unified future. Vanuatu's triumphant entrance into the family of nations on July 30th, 1980, permanently and fundamentally reshaped the entire political map of the Pacific. Under the visionary leadership of Father Walter Lini, who became the country's first prime minister, the young nation proudly charted a fiercely independent foreign policy. At the height of the Cold War, Vanuatu became the only nation in the region to officially join the non-aligned movement, bravely denouncing nuclear testing in the Pacific and emerging as an aggressive, outspoken champion against all remaining forms of global colonialism.
Over the last 4 decades of progress, Vanuatu has successfully navigated its complex place on the modern global stage. While facing immense contemporary challenges, most notably the existential threats of severe tropical cyclones and rising sea levels driven by global climate change, the nation has pioneered global climate diplomacy, actively holding larger industrialized nations accountable on the world stage. Through all of this modernization, the bedrock of the state has remained its absolute, unshakable commitment to cultural preservation. In Vanuatu, ancient tribal traditions, customary land rights, and communal systems of governance are not mere relics of the past. They are protected by the national constitution, ensuring that the country's modern development remains firmly anchored in its indigenous identity.
The historic independence of the Republic of Vanuatu stands to this day as a powerful, inspiring monument within the global decolonization movement. It serves as a permanent historical proof that no matter how strange, deeply rooted, or double-layered the architecture of foreign colonial rule may be, it cannot withstand the collective will of a people determined to reclaim their land, their language, and their freedom. As we look across our modern world, where small island nations continue to fight for economic independence, geopolitical voice, and environmental survival, the story of 1980 carries vital, profound lessons. How do you assess the raw, complex importance of absolute cultural sovereignty for new nations emerging from the shadow of colonial history? Can a nation ever be truly free if it relies on foreign legal and political frameworks, or must independence be built entirely from indigenous roots? We want to hear your analytical insights and unique perspectives, so please share your thoughts in the comments section down below. If you found this comprehensive historical breakdown valuable, please hit that like button, share this video to spread awareness, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you never miss another deep dive into the epic, world-shaping moments of our shared human past. Thank you for watching, stay safe, and we will see you in the next video.